Hello gang, I actually just got done filming a video about the Wizard of Oz, but I changed my shirt so that the thumbnails wouldn't look as stupid. When I film videos, I always film a couple, just cause like, I don't get a lot of time to film, so I script them and then like I shit them out, essentially. So yeah, today I'm gonna be talking about Salo, or 120 Days of Seldom. Seldom? I don't know. Italians, man. As an avid watcher of shock horror, torture porn, edgelord, Reddit, 15-year-old bullshit, Salo was always something that I avoided. Why? Primarily because it's 2 hours long. The whole thing's in Italian. I have a very small attention span. And also, I hear noises. Hello, I'm back. My mom forgot her grocery list, but I thought I was gonna get murdered. So anyways, back to where I was. In terms of movies like this, I always have a harder time processing gore than I do with like sexual abuse. So I never really felt a need or a want or a desire or any of those words to watch Salo, personally. Which is crazy because I finally watched it. And I don't know how I feel about it. I really don't. I have some opinions that I wrote down about different things. But all in all, I think the movie did its job. And I think in terms, I don't think it should be grouped in the same category as stuff like Hostel. Like, yeah, it's disturbing, don't get me wrong, but I think when it comes to like it's not August Underground. You know what I mean? Which is also another movie that I'm a little bit afraid to watch. I'm gonna watch it one day. I just don't feel a need at the moment. It's not shocking because it wants to, like, I don't know how to explain what I'm saying. Yeah, so I'm just gonna read what I wrote down. So basically, 9 boys and 9 girls get taken by these rich dudes. These are the notes that I took while watching the movie, by the way. And something, if you try to run, they'll kill you, which throughout the whole thing, my brain was just, I would fucking run. Like, I would getting killed, which a girl begs to be killed at one point, but it's too late. They don't want to kill her anymore. They want to torture her. Also, no real, like, gore until the end, which I'll go into that later. That's, like, the torturing aspect. There's no mercy either, which is another scary thing. There's a scene where a girl is crying because her mother's dead, and the guy is like, no, your tears only excite me more. It's like, fuck, dude. So the main thing that this movie is known for is there is a scene where they do eat shit. But there are 2 different shit-eating scenes, and the one, which is never talked about, in my opinion, is a lot more effective. It is the girl who's crying, and they're like, no, this means nothing to me. She prays to God. She makes like a vague comment about like, God have mercy on me, which is illegal. One of the rules that they're not allowed to do is they're not allowed to have any religious references or anything like that. So she ends up getting tortured for it, but at the time they make her eat shit. And I don't know how to talk about this. But yeah, that's what it is. And it's a very heartbreaking scene. It's very gross, but also sad at the same time. Because they're yelling at her and they're making her and she's like sobbing. And yeah, that's probably, I don't know, in my head I'm trying to think of like the worst scene. Because like with the Serbian film, I definitely have the scenes that I think are like the worst. And like with Hostel, and I definitely have the scenes where I think are the worst. But with this movie, it's just like, there isn't a specific scene in my brain that is considered the worst. It's just an overwhelming 2 hours of ick. You know what I mean? So, yeah. There's two different scenes of those. There's one with just the girl, and then there's one where they all eat it. There's a lot of poop in this movie. There's also piss. There's that too, which is great, obviously. Nothing better. It's the 9 girls and 9 boys. Some of them die because they run away. It's them, and then there's the evil businessmen, and then there are the former prostitutes or sex workers. This was the 40s. Who are giving the old men ideas for what to do to the children, and yeah. There's also like an overwhelming amount of butt stuff in this movie for like no reason. Like why? Why? Yeah, it's also surprisingly gay. And I know that that's like not a thing that I should say. But like, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of like creepy old gay men, but there's also like 2 of the girls out of the original 9, they end up getting tortured for it. But it's obvious that they love each other. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's just like, I'm in a bad situation, you're in a bad situation, so we're gonna comfort each other, or if this is like actually a lesbian thing. I don't know what it is, but it happens. There's also cross-dressing, which threw me off guard. Obviously, I don't know if we're allowed to use the word cross-dressing anymore, but as a trans person, they're not trans, they're just dressing as women for fun. You know what I mean? Also, things that I feel like I should say, the movie isn't all bad. It's definitely disgusting, and it kind of makes you feel like your soul's rotting while you're watching it. But the cinematography is really good. Like, I'm not gonna lie. And also, the thing is 2 hours long, and it's all in Italian. And I don't think there was really a moment of it where I was, like, bored. I was definitely disgusted, but I wasn't bored, which is pretty impressive because I have a hard time with subtitle movies. No disrespect, like, I'll watch them, obviously, but, like, paying attention, not good at that. It was hard to watch, though. Like, it was hard to watch, but it was like a train wreck. You didn't want to watch it, but you couldn't look away. Yeah. So I wrote down notes about the point of it. So I feel like it's important to mention that the director that made this movie was actually murdered for being a dirty communist. Yes, that was the thing that happened. But this wasn't the first movie that he made. He made this after some other movies, and it was inspired by the Italian petty bourgeoisie that he had encountered while making his earlier films. And I didn't know this, but the movie is actually an adaptation of a novella by Marquise de Sade. I'll put it down. I'll write it out. In 1785. The movie is also a critique on I always get authoritative I don't fucking know. Harsh government, intense government control. We don't like Nazis on this channel. That's what it is. It's a critique on Italian Nazis in the 1940s. I'm like stupid. Like, I don't know. I'll write the word out. You guys figure it out yourself. I can't speak. But yeah. So the movie is actually divided into 4 parts. And it is inspired by Dante's Circle of Hell. And the first one is Ante Inferno, which is like the beginning, I'm assuming. Circle of Manias. I wish I could read my own handwriting. Circle of Mania. We'll say it like that. Which is like the original build-up. Everyone's losing their minds. This is where I'd say the grossest part is, for me, at least, because this was the part where it was obvious that these children didn't want to be in this situation. I mean, like, no shit. But it was just, like, it was really hard to watch. Yeah. Not that children would ever want to be in that situation. obviously. But, you know what I mean? There was just, ugh, about it. And then there was the circle of shit, which is the part where they eat shit. And then there is the circle of blood, which is the very end, and it is when all of the different traitors are tortured and killed. Some of these kills involve, they cut someone's scalp off. They pull this kid's eyeball out. They catch some people on fire. They hang some people. All good times. Oh, and then the kids who weren't traitors, didn't break the rules, which the rules were very, don't pray, stuff like that. Bad stuff. They got to go home. And that's how it ends. Oh, also, one of the prostitutes kills herself at the end, which I thought, something that stood out to me, I didn't write this down, I was just thinking it, was the prostitute characters were very interesting, because while they were putting these awful ideas in these sick men's heads, there were times when the men were going to abuse the children where the prostitutes would kind of like throw them off. You know what I mean? Not like throw them off, but like they'd say something funny, or like they'd like start dancing, or like draw the attention to themselves. I don't know. But the end when one of them, who actually looks like Kristen Wiig for some reason, she kills herself. I don't know. I think there was a moment where I was like, shit, this woman is empathetic towards these children. And the situation the children are in is obviously 100 times worse than the situation that she's in. But there was a moment where I was like, this woman really doesn't want to be here. And I do feel a little bit bad for her. But not as bad for her as I did for the children, obviously. This is a very hard movie to talk about. I definitely feel like I'm walking on eggshells here, but I feel like I should be walking on eggshells. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't... Anyways, I watched Salo, so you guys don't have to. Hope you have a good day, and goodbye.